We were wondering, how many more weeks can we survive here? And
usually Memorial Day weekend is one of our best weekends.
I was so nervous yesterday morning, just not knowing if people were going to show up.
we're going on our 14th year now, and we're just like, this is not a way to go out of business.
And it felt good to serve people, and they were very happy to be here.
Our patio tables have been packed both days.
We've got to get these kids on the field. We got to get them out of the house.
There's not going to be any athletics at this stage if their school's not back in session.
I kept calling, and it just got to the point where I didn't know what to do. We want to know that there's something or somebody that's going to reach out and help us.
My mom, 86 years old, has pneumonia, and I just wanted to get some masks, again, just for her protection when she gets back out of the hospital.
My mother's in healthcare, and she's changing them 4 times a day as well.
This is the first weekend off that I've had since like March 15th.
There's some people, there are others that are really not paying much mind to it.
It seems like everyone's being very courteous of keeping a distance and letting each other pass.
You have to have the virus in the back of your head no matter what you're doing.
Live from WFSB, this is a special edition of Face the State with Dennis House, coronavirus in Connecticut.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Dennis House. Welcome to this special live Thursday night edition of Face the State. It has been a week of big developments in the coronavirus pandemic here in Connecticut. The health numbers are trending in the right direction. The state partially reopened without any major problems, and more facets of our economy will open soon. In a couple of days, as a matter of fact. Once again, I want to welcome our governor to the program, Governor Lamont, and he's joining us now from the executive residence in the city's West End. Governor, thanks for joining us again.
Hi, Dennis. Nice to see you again virtually.
Nice to see you. Eventually, we will have you here in person one of these days, right? That's maybe phase 3 or 4. First, as you answered all those questions about unemployment last week, and the next day we were told many people did get results. So thanks for doing that. And thanks to the additional phone numbers the Department of Labor put up. But we're still getting questions on that topic. So I want to ask you, what do you picture the Labor Department looking like in the future? Will it grow to handle this demand?
Well, let's face it, this was a once in a 100-year storm, but it may be coming more frequently, so we got to be ready for it. A little shocking to me to find out we shut down our call service center at the Department of Labor. What was that, 4 or 5 years ago? A little short-sighted, I think. We're ramping that back up. We had some catching up to do, no question about it. Hopefully we're catching up now.
What is your goal for the unemployment rate in, let's say, 6 months? What would you like to see it be?
I'd like to see it be at least half where we are today. I think we've got to give consumers confidence that they can go back to that restaurant, to that store. And the way you do that is you pay attention to those safety protocols. You make sure you wear a mask. You make sure you sanitize things, and consumers will start coming back. We saw it this weekend at the restaurants, didn't we?
We certainly did. I know. Yeah, let's talk about that for a quick second. I know that you went out with Annie. I went out with Kara briefly to check out a restaurant. What did you think? Were you fearful at all about running into other people?
I felt pretty good. We were in West Hartford, sitting outside with another couple. I can tell you, they followed the protocols carefully. The waitress wore a mask, had the gloves, really paid attention. Everybody kept their distance. I think people were cautious, and I think that's what's great about Connecticut.
Yeah, we didn't have any major problems either. Let's get back to this unemployment issue for just a moment. Last week, you told the viewers here on Face the State that if they had any issues with their labor claims, their unemployment claims, they should reach out to Channel 3, and then we could connect with them with the Department of Labor. We received hundreds of emails and calls because of that, which is fine. We want to help these people. There are some common themes in the emails we've been getting. Let's look at this one from Morrow. Quote, I am one of the many who have fallen through the cracks at DOL and have had my claim payments withheld due, in all probability, to a clerical error. He says after dialing the suggested number, you receive a brief recording message indicating you'll be connected with someone, followed by a busy signal for about half a minute. And then you are disconnected, essentially hung up on. DOL has withheld my payment for 4 weeks. I find myself in desperate straits. I understand the incredible workload the DOL is experiencing, but their feet must be held to the fire in regards to the lack of assistance afforded to people like myself. What is the message for the DOL workers right now from the governor? I'm
not making any excuses. Look, a lot of things, when she says clerical errors, you're right, either on the input or on our side. And when you get in an error, then it takes a while for us to fix the system. I'm told that 15 or 20 states haven't made any payments yet for the self-employed. At least we're not in that category. We had some catching up to do, and we got to do better, and we'll do better.
Governor, I want to talk about the casinos. Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods are scheduled to reopen on Monday. You've asked them to wait a little bit, at least till mid-June, but they want to open on the 1st, which is Monday. We've received some emails from some workers and some tips from some workers at the casinos who say they're a little bit concerned about going in because they expect thousands of people to be walking through these buildings come Monday. What is your biggest fear with these casinos opening on Monday?
That thousands of people go walking through their doors on Monday. And a lot of them are over the age of 65, or a lot of them have comorbidities. Just the type of people I'm trying to encourage to stay home. Look, I respect the tribes. They've made a good faith effort to make a toxic situation a little bit safer, and that's important. We're going to be sitting down again talking tomorrow, doing everything I can. Look, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, they're all going to delay the opening a little bit longer. So's Las Vegas. So I'd like to think we could hold off or at least see what other accommodations we can make to do it as safely as possible.
If you start to see pictures on social media from the casinos of people huddling together, grouping together, what can you do legally to dissuade them from coming, or perhaps shutting down the casinos or shutting down the exits to them, or liquor or so forth?
I got to hope that doesn't happen. I'm not looking for some type of a confrontation. Look, the casinos closed down voluntarily a couple of months ago. They knew it was risky, and it made a big difference. Eastern Connecticut has one of the lowest infection rates, not just in the state, in the entire region. I don't want to jeopardize that by opening too early, or at least not following every safety protocol we can recommend to them.
Welcome back. We are joined again by the governor. He's joining us now from the executive residence in Hartford's West End. Thank you, Governor, for being with us once again.
Good to be here.
We know that K through 12 schools are closed for the rest of this year, but there's still some uncertainty about what happens in the fall. School superintendents are waiting on guidance from you so they'll know what they should be doing this summer to prepare. When do you expect to have that information so they can make their plans and so parents can know what to expect? And what's your gut on all this? Do you think that the kids will be back in classrooms in September?
My gut is the kids are going to be back in classrooms in September. We've said that's our baseline. Count on that. Work towards that. If we have to make a U-turn because COVID doesn't behave, we'll give you at least a 30 days notice. But Miguel Cordona is working on this every day, trying to figure out how we can have either smaller classes or at least socially distanced. Maybe there'll be room for excess students in a cafeteria or gymnasiums, but doing everything we can to keep the classroom experience alive, but do it safely.
You and I have talked about how our wives have gotten a hold of scissors and given us a little bit of a cut on the side so that we don't look completely out of hand. But hair salons will be opening soon. Tell us more about phase 2 of reopening.
Yeah, I saw that picture of you last week when barbershops weren't open. I think it's going to go well. Obviously, we gave the barbershops and hair salons another 10 days. We had an awful lot of stylists and salons that said we just need a little more time, childcare. And by the way, Rhode Island and Massachusetts asked if we could do it at the same time. We're more or less at the same time there, and I think we're ready to go, and we can do it safely.
Today, the Boston Marathon was canceled, announced by the mayor there. The Hartford Marathon is in October. What do you think about that? Will it be happening? Would you recommend that it go on?
You know, that's a long way off, October. I just look where we were just 2 months ago in COVID. Who could predict? I'm hopeful. I'd like to see if we could do that in October. As you know, we got the Travelers coming up in 3 weeks. I know that's not in front of a crowd, but it's going to be one of the first golf championships, PGA sanctioned, here in the country. So we're slowly getting back to normal.
Let's get to some viewer questions here. The state's nursing homes and assisted living facilities have been closed to visitors, as you know, for months now. Patty from Southport is writing to us. When will these facilities in Connecticut allow family members to visit their loved ones? I have not been able to visit my mother since mid-March. What do you think?
We're talking about maybe some outside visitation is one possibility, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. I'm afraid that it was harsh and necessary when we said no outside guests going into a nursing home. We did a lot with FaceTime, we did a lot at the window, but that's not the same thing when your mom is there at that nursing home, you're not able to see her. And but I think it was the right decision. You saw how hit our nursing homes were, how fast it spread like a wildfire, and we did everything we could to keep Grandma alive.
Speaking of Grandma, you had said previously that grandparents should hold off on seeing their grandchildren. So many are desperate to hug and spend some time with them. Are we any closer to that being okay?
Yeah, I think as we get more uniform testing, where you're tested and she's tested, and there's a possibility then for we'll be able to get together. Look, this is not forever, but what I have to remind people every day is every day we maintain our discipline is a day closer to getting back to normalcy.
We received a lot of questions about gyms in recent weeks, and one was from Joe Carabasi, who owns Melt Fitness. He says, it's time to open. There are, though, people who are anxious for them, about their opening so they can work off some of their pandemic stress. Others, like Michael in Waterbury, are concerned they will open too early. And he wrote to us this, quote, "What will be the protocol? Masks required? Temperatures taken when going in? Limit of 50 after June 20th? I feel that June 20th is too soon to open gyms. As much as staff cleans the gym, they are filled with sweat, heavy breathing, and not socially distant." What do you think?
I think heavy breathing is the biggest risk, according to our healthcare advisors that told us this. Outdoor fitness is a lot better than indoor fitness, but when it comes to indoor gyms, we're taking a look at that for June 20th, probably at a much lower capacity. But you're right, you're pressing hard and you're breathing out, and that could spread the germs, so we're being cautious there.
I want to jump ahead to one final question. Elizabeth in West Hartford wanted to share her experience at Chatfield Hollow State Park over the weekend, and she wrote, "All of the picnic tables were stacked, so they could not be used. I understand deterring folks from gatherings, but why are we prohibited from eating food at parks, yet we're allowed to eat at restaurants outdoors?"
That's a good question. Ask Katie Dykes. That seems a little harsh to me, but I will tell you she's managed this really well. I mean, we've limited the number of people who can go to our parks. By the way, we kept our parks and beaches open this entire time. Nobody else did that. We haven't had any Lake of the Ozarks moments at any of our parks, for which I'm very thankful. Why you can't sit at a park bench and have a sandwich with a friend, I got to look into.
We're going to ask the Lieutenant Governor that after the commercial break. We're going to put it on her. How's that sound, Governor?
Ask her the tough questions, will you? That'd be great.
I certainly will. All right, Governor Ned Lamont, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you so much, sir, and we will see you soon on this program.